Income elasticity of demand is going to be a measure of how sensitive quantity demanded is to changes in income. So you can think of this as a shifter. How far is it going to shift the demand curve to the left or the right if income is going up or down? The formula for income elasticity of demand is going to be equal to the percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in income. It's going to be measuring the percent change in quantity demanded following a 1% rise in income. That's how we want to interpret this number. This thing is going to range from negative infinity to infinity. So anything that has an income elasticity greater than 0, this will be a normal good, right? Income goes up, you want to buy more. That's a positive number for this. Income goes up, percent quantity change is positive, greater than 0, right? A normal good. Now, if it's negative number, income goes up, percent change in quantity is negative, goes down. That would be an inferior good, like my ramen noodles example from earlier, right? So our income elasticity of demand can tell us, is it an inferior good or is it a normal good, and by how much, like how responsive is that change in demand to a change in income. So to give a sense of these numbers, over here I have a table that's estimated income elasticity of demands for different products from actual data in the United States. Right? So for example, the income elasticity of demand for processed fruits and vegetables. So I think you should think canned fruits and vegetables is negative here. And what this means is that that's an inferior good. As people's incomes go up, they buy less canned fruits and vegetables. And if you want to interpret this number, if your income goes up by 1%, demand for processed fruits and vegetables goes down by 0.3%. Right? Electricity is 0. And what that means is like the consumption of electricity doesn't really vary much with your income, and with small changes in income. So like your income goes up by 1%. Are you really going to change how much electricity you use? Probably not. So that's my interpretation of that one. Right. And now we move on to our normal goods. And so we have these things like organic fruit, which is 0.2, health expenditures 0.4, home ownership 0.5, gasoline 0.5. And so these are all things that as your income goes up by 1%. So for like home ownership, income goes up by 1%. Your home ownership goes up by 0.5%. Okay. So a little bit slower than your income, but it's still income increase, but it's going up, right? And so these things, as your income goes up, your expenditures on these things go up, but not as fast as your income goes up. Now, these two things on the bottom here, these are called luxury goods, and luxury goods are a special kind of normal good where your income elasticity is greater than 1. And so for new cars and airplane tickets, if your income goes up by 1%, your purchases of new cars will go up by 1.7%, and for airplane tickets of 1.8%. So your spending on these categories is going up faster than your income is going up. So that's why we call these things luxury goods. A type of question you might see on the exam for income elasticity of demand. Here I'm telling you income rises by 20%. Quantity demanded of item rises by 10%. I want you to calculate that income elasticity of demand. So we have our formula, income elasticity of demand equals our percent change in quantity demanded over the percent change in income. Right? So we can plug in these numbers. Percent change in income was increase of 20%. The quantity demanded of item also goes up by 10%, so they're both positive, and so we'll get 1/2 here. Right? So a correct answer on exam would be C, 1/2. We can interpret this as a 1% increase in income causes a 0.5% increase in quantity demanded. Now, I'm not going to go through other type of practice questions for this type. You can see them on the practice questions on Canvas. But imagine, right, I gave you in this problem these two numbers and you solved for this one. I could give you these two numbers and you solve for the third, or I could give you this number and you solve for that one. Just kind of like how we did in price elasticity of demand and supply elasticity. Price elasticity of supply.